Taxation without representation is tyranny. That was the rallying cry of the colonists in 1764, after the Stamp Act, which followed the Boston Tea Party of December 1773. How many remember the Tea? Well, no, you don't ever remember the Tea Party. How many know about the Boston Tea Party, where 342 chests of tea were dumped into the Boston Harbor by the Patriots? Sneaky. How sneaky. They were found out anyway. Tax stamps. Taxing tea? Good heavens, who heard of such a thing? Protest leading up to what? The Revolutionary War. We just had the 4th of July. Yeah, it's the Revolutionary War celebration. We did not want to be ruled by someone from afar with no representation. If you don't allow me representation, I'm not going to take your rule. And there was a lot of guerrilla warfare. However, the taxation without representation is tyranny was a powerful means of spreading the patriot message in 1764 and 1775 and 65. The Battle of Lexington, April 19th, 1775, was a shot heard around the world. Why is it a shot heard around the world? Because it began a series of revolutions throughout the world. We were the first. Now, of course, you all remember Henry Wadsworth Longfellow's poem about Paul Revere's ride. Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere. One if by land and two if by sea, and I on the opposite shore shall be. Hardly a man is now alive who remembers the famous day and year of the midnight ride of Paul Revere. I on the opposite shore will be ready to ride and spread the alarm. Folk to be up and to arm. We all had guns. We had to hunt for food and keep those Indians away. And keep the British on where they belong. Over there. Whoops, over there. On the other side of the puddle. It was the beginning of the separation from the crown. The crown, not just the British crown, but the world. Because what happened? Shortly thereafter was the French Revolution, with the storming of the Bastille on July 14th, 1789. Okay, our patriots and our colonists wanted freedom from the crown physically. But how are they going to be ruled? You have to have a rule of law somehow. Are you going to have a king? What are you going to do? I am free. I am free. Yes, I am free. But I have war. The war makes me free. How am I going to be governed? Now remember when this was. 1775 is in the middle of the Age of Enlightenment. The Age of Enlightenment? What's that? A period of 1600s to early 1800s, basically the whole century of the 1700s with the Age of Enlightenment. Lots of things happening. New thought, new plans. They promoted individual liberty, representative government, not from the top down, but from the bottom up, the rule of law, religious freedom, in contrast to an absolute monarchy. These ideas are expressed in the preamble of the Declaration of Independence, which says, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator, with certain inalienable rights, that among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." Do you feel patriotic? Yes, come on. I feel patriotic. Hello? Anyone there? You're all dead? Thank you. And when it says they were endowed by their Creator, that meant they all looked to a higher power. If they were looking to a higher power, clearly they were accessing concepts which were not consistent with the then current thought patterns. Do you think that might touch on something called prayer and meditation? In the back of my mind, you've heard me enough to know it has to be prayer and meditation. Prayer and meditation. Prayer and meditation. These guys, and they are all guys, went to a higher power to get their ideas of new government, which was not consistent with the kings and crowns of the world. This country was conceived and started in prayer. The First Continental Congress was held in 1774 in Carpenter's Hall in Philadelphia. Sam Adams from Massachusetts opened it with prayer, even though the colonies practiced and embraced many divergent spiritual practices and denominations. But they all accessed a higher power, so Sam Adams could deliver a prayer consistent with all of their beliefs. Remember Henry David Thoreau? Who knows Thoreau? Good, I'm glad to see somebody does. If a man does not keep pace with his companions, it's because he hears a different drummer. Let him step to the music which he hears, however measured or far away. Who is your drummer? What music do you hear? Are you in tune? Which has nothing to do with your neighbor. We are each a unique individuation of Godness. We are each a unique individuation of Godness. Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry David Thoreau were transcendentalists. Strange word. They were transcendentalists of the early and mid-1800s. They were the forerunners of the New Thought movement of the late 1800s, of which Unity is one of the major ones. And there's several others. Some died out, some didn't. But that's where we are. We are in the New Thought movement. And here we are, mid-21st century. Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, used to say that he was going to headquarters. I wonder what that means. Going to headquarters. If I were going to go to headquarters, would I go to my desk? No. My headquarters can be found anywhere I am because it is within me. It is my connection to whatever is out there. Oh, when we say whatever is out there, do we think God is up there? Are we speaking of the aliens that we touch upon for inspiration? Or do we mean our higher power, our guardian angel? Doesn't matter. We go within to go without to get new ideas, to clarify where we are and what we want to do. I believe that when Charles Fillmore said he was going to headquarters, he used that phraseology to tell others that he was going into a time of prayer and meditation, prayer and meditation, prayer and meditation. Going to headquarters was how Charles Fillmore connected to God. It doesn't matter where you are. You can always down, kneel down, stand up. If you are at one with yourself, you can be at one with whatever is beyond you. Your connection is always there. In the midst of wherever you are, you can always access that higher power. And it is an amazing thing. When you are prayed up, which doesn't mean you pray once every other year just when you need it, it means every day you get prayed up. It builds something inside you so that when you need it, it's right there. I know. I've been there. There are times in emergencies You don't think, you just know. And that is through your prayer and meditation times, because you are in tune with your higher power. You're in tune with universal thought. We each have our own unique, personal, individual pipeline to God, whatever your God may be. I am free, there are no chains that bind me. I am free to be the me that God and I choose for me to be. I am free to be the me that is created for me. Come, fly with me to a place where we can be free, free to be what and who we choose to be. Nothing new, time-honored tradition. How old? Well, we might go back a little bit. How far back? How about to Genesis 12, 1 through 4, Abram. That's 4,000 years ago. I guess that's a while ago. God tells Abram, not Abraham, Abram, to go to a new country. A new country? Did God speak in words? And if so, what language did God speak? We all know. God doesn't use words. You intuit God. You commune with God. You dream, and you get the impressions from God in a dream. As God said to Abram, leave your family behind. Old ideas are no longer serve you. Habits that you do not express the kingdom of heaven, leave behind. All that which is less than what you might desire, leave behind. Create an opportunity for growth. I go to a new country, meaning I have new thoughts in my head. My head is my country. Go to a new country. Create new thoughts. Of course, through prayer and meditation. Be free to be the person that God would have you be, he said to Abram. Like Abram, I too am free to go to a new country, a place of new ideas, divine ideas. Damascus. He freed himself from persecuting followers of Jesus to embracing the kingdom of heaven. He is now in the earth plane. Have you freed yourself from persecuting tendencies of negativity, bad thoughts? Have you had a blinding-like experience? Are you free to express the peace, love, and joy of the kingdom of heaven here and now in your life? You create a new world for yourself. You separate yourself from past influences that draw you back into old patterns. Drugs, alcohol, old friends based on patterns you don't want anymore. Change your world, change your life, change the people you hang out with, change what you consume in your body. Birds of a feather flock together. What are your birds like? Free yourself from what holds you back. Unchain yourself from people and thoughts. From old habits when I choose to be free of them. We are self-limiting? No. I don't want to be self-limiting. We are self-limiting if we allow ourselves to be self-limiting. But I want to be free. I want to let my mind soar. I am free. I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. My strength and encouragement are from within. Every day, every way. It's the inner me that expresses and creates the outer me. Replay the events of your life that are self-enforcing, self-encouraging. What made you feel good? Do more of it. Elevate yourself through your mind. Fake it until you make it. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. Ooh, that's interesting. Repeat. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. Once again, thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. True. This is a truism from ages eternal. I am limited only by my imagination. Ooh. Think what you tell your kids. You can't do that. No. Let them go. Let them fly. Let them be free to explore. Let their minds soar and become a genius. Do not be like Lot's wife. What happened to her? She became a pillar of salt, which means she became stagnant. She was solidified. She wouldn't allow her thoughts to be creative. She was rigid to the past, not able to change. We can all change your life. Be free to be the person that you and God would choose to create you to be. There was a Pharisee named Nicodemus. He came to Jesus by night. By night in the shadows. And Jesus answered him, "Truly, truly, I say to you, if a man is not born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God." Born again? How can I get out of my mother's womb again? It's not what it means. Nicodemus came at night. We only catch a glimpse of his identity in the shadows. The implication was he was afraid of being found out, afraid of losing status, his job, his position, his privilege. Being odd and different would be rejected. Can you identify with not exposing who you are? Do you let people see who you are? Maybe sometimes. Jesus tells him he must be born again, which is a northern Aramaic idiom. And it means change your thoughts and actions. Free yourself from the past and create anew. That's being born again. Every day I am born again. My mind is new. My mind is fresh. I create new thoughts to create the new me that I choose to be. Nicodemus spoke Southern Aramaic, therefore he did not understand Jesus' terms, being born again. Nicodemus had to free himself from the confines of rigid Judaism to embrace himself as a child of God. No matter how you grew up, where you grew up from, you need to free yourself so you can think new thoughts, become the new person that God and I would choose to create you to be. God's intent is what we have life, even when we are approaching from the shadows. It's a beginning. Have a life and have it abundantly. Freedom is not just something from long ago. The 4th of July was only 2 days ago. Celebration of freedom from taxation without representation, tyranny. We as a nation want to be free to create our own destiny. Henry David Thoreau expressed his desire for freedom by marching to a different drummer. When Robert Fulghum was asked in an interview what he was, his reply was, "I am the best Robert Fulghum that I can be." These certainly express freedom from the norm. Are you all normal? We go directly to God for direction. For God speaks in new, unprecedented, unpredictable ways. I go in prayer. In meditation, I'm inspired by divine ideas. I relate those ideas, those divine ideas, as Bloody Mary said in South Pacific, if you don't have a dream, how are you going to make that dream come true? Do you have a dream? Dream. You are free to create the you that you want to be. So dream the impossible dream from the man of La Mancha. Fight those windmills. You are directed by your inner voice. God speaks not through thunder, fire, and storm, but the still small voice within, as we learned from Elijah. It is my prayer that I am free to let the Christ light within me glow, radiate, and blaze, to ignite, to inspire, to set afire within you and others, so that all may be free to let their Christ light infuse, affect the Christ light within others. Free to be me. I am free to be the me that God and I created me to be. In other words, if you change through prayer and meditation, I get glimpses of divine ideas which can become manifest in my life. The mind is the most powerful force in the universe. In Genesis 1, we are told that God created the universe. God said, "Let there be," and there was. Speaking is expressing or manifesting thoughts, a pushing out of the synthesis of the head and the heart. Your head and your heart synthesize and you express through your mouth, through your throat. We are created in the image and likeness of God. Thus, we too can do as God did. We can create as God created and creates. God created by thinking things into existence, and so can we, with the power of our mind, both as an individual and collectively as a society. Oh, that's heavy. The thoughts of society, the society in which they find themselves. So I, as an individual, need to inspire you to shine your Christ light, and if we can all just shine as like the pebble going across flat water, the waves become smaller as it goes further, but it touches them. And when you spark someone else, and they begin the waves all over again, this is how we elevate our society. This is how we change society. Think of the 100th monkey. Got to start somewhere. Your Christ light shines to inspire others. God created by thinking things into existence, and so can we. Perhaps we might consider our relation to God similar to that of a glass of ocean water to the entire ocean. The same qualities and content, but different in scale and magnitude. Our lives and the world in which we find ourselves are manifestations of thoughts, and the outpicturing of those thoughts physically and materialistically. I am free to create the me that God and I within me. In his letter to the Romans, Paul wrote, "Be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind." Be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind. That's Romans 12:2. Or as we say in Unity, thoughts held in mind produce after their kind, which we said earlier. And so true. Your mind creates your future. Your mind creates your future. You think downtrodden, and you will be. You think great thoughts, and that's where you aspire to go. That's where you will go. In other words, if you change your thinking, your life will change accordingly. I am free to create the me that I think is appropriate for me to be currently.